This is Jared Horak for Today's RacingDigest.com, and my Today's Racing Digest video series continues Saturday, September 22nd, 2018. We're going to do the 11th race from Parks, the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby for 3-year-olds, and they're going to be traveling 1 1/8 on the main track, and we have a 10-horse field. And let's meet the field in post-position order, beginning with number 1, First Mondays. This is a lightly raced horse. It's only run 3 times, couple wins, and then a 3rd place finish last time out in the Grade 3 Smarty Jones, the local prep race for the Pennsylvania Derby. Not a bad effort. This one obviously has a lot of upside with only 3 races. They paid $450,000 for this one. Curlin is the sire. Awesome Again, the dam sire. Excellent pedigree, bred to run 1.25 miles or longer. So he certainly has a lot of upside. I just don't know that this race is going to be where he's going to show it. Later this year, next year, look for this one possibly to be a decent player in the handicap division if he continues to progress. Number 2, Hofburg, is your 3-1 second choice on the morning line. He's adding blinkers for trainer Bill Mott, and he has 2 Saratoga bullet workouts for this race. I've always been a fan of Hofburg. Earlier this year, he was very lightly raced, coming off of a maiden win. He went right into the Florida Derby, and in the Florida Derby, he rallied to finish a good second that day. The Kentucky Derby was probably a bit too much too soon, and I didn't expect him to run well there. I expected him to finish maybe mid-pack, and he ran okay in the Kentucky Derby. And then the Belmont Stakes, he ended up finishing an okay 3rd. And then his big effort was in the Curlin Stakes on a wet track at Saratoga earlier this year. That was the prep race for the Travers. Unfortunately, Hofburg ended up getting sick and missing the Travers. But in that Curlin Stakes, he was outstanding. There wasn't a ton of pace. The track was favoring speed. It was a wet track, and he just romped from last place, and he earned some big Today's Racing Digest numbers. In the Curlin Stakes, he got a 114 fire number. The fire number is speed throughout a race. That's a strong number, that 114. He got a 163 CPR. The CPR for Today's Racing Digest is the comprehensive performance rating, which takes into account pace, final time, and closing fraction. Another outstanding number. And then he got a 164 final rating. So those were his best career numbers, and he looked like he was ready to roll coming into the Travers, and then he got sick. So now he's been rerouted to this race. As I mentioned, 2 bullet workouts. Adding blinkers, and maybe he won't be quite as far back adding blinkers. We'll have to see. But he looks like a major contender in this race. Instilled Regard is the next one in line. He was 4th in the Kentucky Derby at 85-1. And he rallied from 17th place to jump up to finish 4th that day for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer. Now he's in the Chad Brown barn. Jose Ortiz is going to ride him this time. Instilled Regard's probably going to try to get involved late. And remember, he was an 85-1 outsider in the Derby. He wasn't expected to run well. He overperformed in that race. And that track was wet. The pace was quick. And a lot of times you'll see in the Kentucky Derby horses that are way back. They pass those tired horses that don't like to get the distance. And then they end up getting overbet in subsequent starts. So I respect this one. He was a top player earlier this year. He won the Lecomte Stakes. He was a decent 2-year-old. He was close to McKinzie, who's your morning line favorite in this race at Los Al, in the Los Al Futurity as a 2-year-old. He was good early in his 3-year-old season, and then he failed to progress after that. We'll have to see how he does off of a layoff. King Zachary is the next one. He was rallying 4th in the Travers Stakes last time. He didn't get a lot of pace help. The 1-2 finishers in that one, Catholic Boy and Mendelssohn, they controlled the pace throughout, and they dominated the race. King Zachary, not a bad effort, ended up rallying to finish 4th. He did earn strong numbers in the Grade 3 Matt Winn, strong Today's Racing Digest numbers in that race at Churchill Downs, winning that Grade 3 event earlier this year. And I would not be surprised if he hit the board in here. Core Beliefs, he was 4th in the Haskell. He had a bit of an uncomfortable trip, didn't have the best start. He did earn strong numbers winning the Grade 3 Ohio Derby with a wide trip, a couple starts back. But none of his other numbers really match up to that one, and we'll see if those numbers were for real. I think they were a bit inflated, but I think he's a bit better than his last race as well. Axelrod is on the improve. He was 1st in the Grade 3 Indiana Derby. He was 1st in the Grade 3 Smarty Jones at Parks. He improved his fire numbers and his final ratings in his last 2 starts. So he's certainly getting better, and he's one that you have to look for in here. Prominent throughout, probably. He's got a running style versatility. Look for him maybe to stalk the pace in here. Mr. Freeze rolled last time out by more than 8 lengths in the Grade 3 West Virginia Derby, but he did ride the speed bias, and he was able to control the pace in there. He may see some other horses try to go out with him in here. He did improve his final rating to a 155 last time. but he's lightly raced for trainer Dale Romans, and Romans also has King Zachary. But I still think he needs to step it up. This is a better competition, but he is lightly raced and on the improve, and he does have some speed. McKinzie is your morning line favorite in here for trainer Bob Baffert. 4 starts with 3 wins and a second, but he hasn't run since March. He was a big Derby player. It looked like on the road to the Derby for trainer Bob Baffert, it looked like he was going to be his top horse for the Kentucky Derby this year. But he never made the Derby. He got sick, he got hurt, and then along came Justify to win the Triple Crown for that same barn. But McKinzie showed a lot of ability early in his career, but his best 2 races were at 7 furlongs and 8 furlongs. Maybe he doesn't want to go 9 furlongs. Maybe the combination of this long layoff, the 9 furlong distance, will do him in, but you can never count out a Bob Baffert trainee. He's got a lot of ability, obviously. He's run well fresh. He won his career debut. So he's one to look for in the hunt throughout in this race. And Trigger Warning is the next one. This one, his recent wins were at 6, 5.5, and 6.5 furlongs. He has some early pressing speed. He's taking blinkers off. He's been competitive in route races, but I think 9 furlongs is too far. And his best shot maybe is to try to get out there and get on the lead, but then Mr. Freeze wants to do that as well. And then finally, Bravazo. Bravazo is a horse that he's running all the stakes races. In the graded ranks, he has 8 starts with a win, 2 seconds, and a third. He was in the Risen Star Stakes earlier this year. He won that one. He was in the Louisiana Derby. He was up the track. He ran in all 3 Triple Crown races. He finished 2nd in the Preakness. He was off the board in the Derby and the Belmont. He ended up finishing 3rd in the Travers, 2nd in the Haskell. So he's been in every race for trainer D. Wayne Lucas. He tries hard a lot, but his numbers are a little bit lighter. His best final rating was in the Haskell, a 140 final rating there. He's going to have to step up his game a bit, I think, to beat this field, but would not be surprised if he ran well, because he runs in all the races and he shows up and he tries hard. So in this race, number 2, Hofburg is going to be my top choice, and we'll make a win wager on number 2, Hofburg. Playing exacta Hofburg over the 6 Axelrod and the 8 McKinzie. Reverse that exacta 6, 8 over the 2, and then we'll put the 2, 6, and 8 on top. That's Hofburg, Axelrod, and McKinzie. We'll put all in second, and we'll put my live long shot, number 4, King Zachary, in third. So we'll key that one in third in the trifecta, 2, 6, 8 with all, with 4. If you're interested in my full card analysis, my full cards will resume Santa Anita Park on Friday, September 28th, next week's full cards from Santa Anita will resume each and every day at todaysracingdigest.com. If you're interested in this digest from Parks, Pennsylvania Derby Day, multiple stakes races, you can find that at todaysracingdigest.com. And that will wrap up this week's video. Next week's video is going to be from Santa Anita Park next Saturday. We're going to do the American Pharoah Stakes for 2-year-olds on the road to the Derby Trail. That is the Kentucky Derby points race. Until then, good luck at the races.